We interrupt this program to bring you...
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Real Guys Live, the series where we talk about all the movie, TV news that you need to know. Joining me today, the greatest minds of the Real Movie Guy universe, we have Adam. Say hi, Adam.
Hello.
And we have Julie. Say hello.
Hello.
And last but not least, myself, Kevin, your gracious host. So today, guys, we got a pretty big news cycle. It kind of is overtaking everything else that's going on in the world. When you own like 100% of media, D23 happened. So that's going to be our big discussion today. But before we talk about that, I always want to ask you guys, what are you guys watching? Adam, what's going on, man? What have you been checking out this week? Past couple of weeks, I should say.
I don't know. I don't think
know.
I've watched anything.
Nothing? Just been staring into space all week?
No, I've been playing The Last of Us Part 1.
Playing The Last of Us Part 1? All right.
That's pretty much all I've been doing.
Well,
that and YouTube videos, I think. Yeah.
Well, and something else that we'll be looking at in September there. There's been a little bit of Evil Dead watching going on.
Yes.
Which you guys will be seeing those videos
Yes,
this
I did
week.
do that.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have some excitement there. All right, Adam. Well, you're really boring this week, so thanks. Thanks for your contribution.
Sorry.
So how is Last of Us? I guess we could talk about that. Why not, right? It's getting a TV show. Kind of like ties into that. We've been playing it too, so.
Yeah, I guess it's topical. So, I mean, I think it's great. I don't know if I could justify it being full price, but
Right.
I'm enjoying going through it again.
You know, you bring up an interesting point, and I saw this online, which it kind of relates to me in a lot of ways. So I buy movies all the time. Clearly I have a problem. It is what it is. I bought the same movie at least 2 or 3 times. So what's the difference between buying the same game 2 or 3 times for a slightly better remaster? It's kind of the same principle, right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean, think about it.
The only way I could justify the purchase was if I bought the the Super Collector's Edition.
Right. Oh, you got that one. That's a nice one.
I did. I wanted the Steelbook, so that's what I ended up getting.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we picked up the $70 version because, I don't know, that was hard to find, too. We had a hard time, actually, trying to find that, ironically enough. So, goes to show. I mean, Last of Us still printing money.
We went to like...
Yeah, it was at least like 4 stores or something like that before we found it, which was kind of crazy because, we just wanted to play it, and, Julie still doesn't want to play. She still hands me the controller every time she doesn't want to do a shoot scene.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll be grooving, and then I hear the sounds. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
no, there's definitely some scary parts that still scare me.
Yeah, accessibility features are pretty cool, though. I'll give it that. I think the easy auto-targeting is kind of nice, even though Julie still can't even handle it with the easy auto-targeting. I don't know, but Last of Us is good. Again, I think there's like some discussion to be had though with that whole like upgrading thing. With video games, I guess it hurts more in some ways because you're spending I spend like $20 maybe on a 4K versus $70 on a new game. I don't know. I guess pricing is kind of the discussion there, but from what I played, I really like it. It makes me excited for the show that's coming. I'm sure we'll be talking about that a lot.
Yeah, no,
when that
me too.
Comes out. Pedro Pascal, Julie's other husband.
Mm-hmm.
I know. She needs to calm down over
Pedro.
there. I know you do. Unfortunately. But, all right, Adam. So, Last of Us, YouTube videos, watching our YouTube videos, I'm sure, because, it just puts them on rewatch all the time, right?
Obviously.
Real movie guys. All right.
That's it.
That's all he watches.
That's all he watches. Julie, what have you been watching? I guess what have we been watching? I always say that, but it's true.
Well, we watched Evil Dead. Still riding that House of the Dragon high, tuning in weekly. And then we just started watching the new season of Cobra Kai, which is pretty good. So it took like a couple episodes, like the first few episodes, and like, I don't really care. And like everything just felt like storylines that they were building up were like instantly just resolved in like the first 2 episodes. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
But now like we're about halfway, maybe a little over halfway, and the stakes seem to be getting higher. The tension's building a little bit. So I'm definitely enjoying, I guess, the latter half of the new season. So see how it wraps up. But I'm really just excited. It's Sunday, House of the Dragon tonight.
Yeah,
ready to go.
It's interesting. Cobra Kai is one of those weird experiments where I feel like it had no business in working as well as it did. And, it keeps getting more ridiculous every season, but it seems to work for that show. Almost kind of like Degrassi levels of ridiculous when that show was around. I kind of relate. It's like Degrassi with karate.
It's nowhere near Degrassi.
I don't know. I mean,
there's elements. There's Degrassi drama and.
I don't know. I mean, Maya's Drake rolling up in a wheelchair. I think we're getting pretty close with it, to be honest with you. But
they did kind of do that with Miguel.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
One or two.
Yeah, but Adam, have you watched Cobra Kai? Any interest in Cobra Kai?
No.
Especially after that glowing statement of Degrassi. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. That kind of ruined it for me, but I had no interest before that.
Yeah, Cobra Kai is good. If you have like a soft spot, I think for the original Karate Kid films, I think you will get a lot out of Cobra Kai. It kind of keeps it going. It's been interesting, and I think there's a lot of love to the series, which is nice too. They kind of do that reboot thing right. The thing we ask for a lot of. We'll be talking about Disney soon. We want that love that they show for the series, love and respect, but telling a new story. They do a good job with that. Yeah, that's really the best compliment I can give Cobra Kai. Continues to be good. I think it's ending soon. I think next season should be the last season, maybe. I think.
Is it one or two more?
I'm not sure. Again, who knows? We're almost done with the season, and it's funny because I feel like every time a season starts winding down, it starts to get really good, and then they just pull the plug, and then you have to wait for the next season. Which I guess that's like the best way to create a TV show, right? It's building interest into the final of the next season.
You want people to come back, so
yeah. No, it's great that they do that. I think they have a good grasp on their show, and it's interesting to see where they're going to take it. D23 happened. I don't know about you guys, but I was actually pretty excited about it. Every year we get a lot of announcements, all the big things Disney's working on. It's crazy how big it's become, I think, right? It's minus just like the basic Disney properties. Now we get Marvel involved, we get Star Wars involved. What I thought we would do is let's just go through the list. What do you guys think? I think we're just going to go through the list. We'll talk about every announcement. Give the people at home what they want. This is what they need to know. So starting off,
kind of crazy.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. Before you go through the list, like how you were saying how big it's become, it just feels like it's its own con. But again, like a lot of these properties are covered at like San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. Like it's just, I don't know, it's insane to me.
No, I think so too. What do you think, Adam?
It's crazy that like they still have information to show us within such a short period of time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think too, with the birth of like Disney Plus, we're seeing a lot of like just stuff we're getting sooner rather than later, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, a lot of these movies are pretty close within a couple months. So they've been in production, and it shows how big a company Disney really is. They have all these projects in the works, and I think there's something for everybody. As long as it's not Pinocchio, but you've got something for everybody. I think at this point. Let's just jump into it. So the first up, of course, Walt Disney Studios, the flagship studio. They started off with Hocus Pocus 2. This has been a long-awaited movie. Now, Julie, I know you're a huge Hocus Pocus fan. Are you excited? Did this give you... We got the trailer. They dropped a brand new trailer for it.
I'm really excited. The teaser trailer was like exciting when that came out a couple months ago, but it didn't really give you anything to go off of. And even after seeing that, I'm like, what the hell are they going to do? And I was even thinking about it the other night. I'm like, the last movie ended, they're shattered into stone. Like they're done. They're gone. And then this one, yeah, of course it's far-fetched, but we're talking about witches and magic. It looks so fun. And even the jokes that are being reused for a modern way, I got a chuckle out of it already. Sam Richardson's in it, which he's hysterical. He's in a bunch of different things, but I know him from I Think You Should Leave. He seems to be like hitting those comedic bits. Also, Rebecca from Ted Lasso is in it, I guess, as their mother, maybe it looks like, the mother witch. So I'm super excited for this movie. I'm really hoping that it lives up to the hype because it's been a long time. I think that's the end of this month. I think like 2 weeks away it comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I believe it's September 30th. Yeah, is the release
September 30th?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. What do you think,
This was
Adam?
something I thought I would be very excited about, but...
Right.
I don't know. I thought it looked fun.
Yeah, were you a fan of the original Hocus Pocus?
And then, of course I was. That's a great movie, too. It's just I'm looking forward to another fun, Halloween movie because, Halloween movies are always okay. Always
Yeah.
enjoyable.
No, I think so too.
But it really just goes to show that like none of Disney's properties ever just go away forever.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Something that you
especially
thought would be gone,
yeah,
like done, it's
especially
over.
right, especially for like Hocus Pocus. Pretty much thought was like a one and done kind of film, but it shows it still has a cult
Right.
following.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Goofy
And I
movies
have to
like
say,
that
the
too,
three
right?
of them, yeah, they look fantastic. The Sanderson
Hmm.
sisters, they look amazing considering how much time has passed. Flawless.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And it's great to see that they still wanted to do it because I feel like when you get into like the years later like that, like either you're scorned by it, like oh I did this movie, it was terrible, yada yada yada, because you get that a lot. We'll be talking about somebody later. I think that kind of falls into that category, but I think this is one of those movies where I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what happens. But yeah, we'll see. Hocus Pocus, we got that coming up. Next up came up was Disenchanted. Now, Adam, were you a fan of the original Enchanted?
The original is also a very enjoyable movie.
And are
Once
you
again, I
right?
did not expect to see a sequel.
Right, and I'm really surprised
Um,
actually.
I'm indifferent towards it, I guess. I'll watch it. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Right, and that's November 24th. Julie, what did you think? I'm just really surprised. I'm actually surprised too. This isn't getting a theatrical release because Enchanted was a pretty big movie when it came out, as far as I
Yeah.
remember.
I think maybe, well, even Hocus Pocus 2, that's just going straight to streaming as well, right?
Yes, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, I feel like has that larger fan base where if you put that in theaters, people would have flocked out in droves to go see that movie. Enchanted, while it also, like when it came out, I remember it being huge. I don't think it has that like attachment when people like saw it. Like people were probably like, "Oh, this is cool. I'm excited for it." Not like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're finally making a sequel." I enjoyed the first Enchanted movie. I wasn't like obsessed with it, but it was a fun movie. And this one looks really cute. Everyone's bringing back like their A game. I love James Marsden as I can't remember his character name, but like the prince. He looks hysterical in it. So I'm glad that I could just watch it on Disney Plus and I don't have to go to the theater for it.
Yeah, I'm curious if now I didn't hear any announcements about this. I don't know if you guys did. Are they bringing back the premium Disney Plus model where you had to pay for a movie on Disney Plus? And I remember they did that with like Black Widow,
Right.
Raya the Last Dragon, I believe was another one. I didn't hear anything. I don't know if you guys heard anything about that being a thing because I wonder if any of these movies will fall under that.
No, I haven't
category.
heard anything about it.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear anything, and nothing was said. So I'm going in, so everyone knows at home, we're going to go in assuming that these are all just coming to your Disney Plus subscription. I think that they should.
Yeah.
We pay that movie a month. Let's get something out of it. I think we really deserve this stuff. Disenchanted. We'll see what happens. Seems like an interesting continuation of that series. Then another Disney live-action remake. Who'da thunk? Peter Pan and Wendy. Now, I think this has maybe some of the most potential, but I'm gonna, keep my comments to myself in some way because I don't know. Based on what's come so far, I don't know how impressed I've been. But I think Peter Pan's story is probably one that could benefit the most from like an update and has some of the most things you have the most fun with. One thing we're going to get is Jude Law was announced as playing Captain Hook. Jude Law is freaking phenomenal. So I expect a really big performance as far as Captain Hook.
I did not know that.
Oh, see, you got to read the notes there.
Oh, that's great casting.
Yeah,
I
think
know.
that's
I
gonna be
missed.
really
I
cool.
missed that.
And also Yara Shahidi
Excellent.
was cast as Tinkerbell. I'm not sure if I know who she is, unfortunately. But, there seems to be some buzz about her taking that role of Tinkerbell. Going on, so what was the next announcement?
Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
The Haunted Mansion. The most interesting part about the Haunted Mansion, I think, too, the Scream Queen herself. Jamie Lee Curtis, Madame Leota. That's going to be interesting. Haunted Mansion. I do remember the Eddie Murphy movie. Anyone else familiar with that movie? Adam,
Yes.
did you enjoy that?
Yeah, that was a fun movie too. I like that one.
Yeah, I think I can't say I loved it. It's kind of like non-memorable for me. Like I know I watched it, but I couldn't tell you a thing that happened in it besides Eddie Murphy actually being in the movie. I think maybe that was the only thing I could tell you about it, based on the ride. But it's good to see. I'm excited.
I don't think I ever watched it.
No, you never watched it?
No. And I was like an Eddie Murphy fan, like during that peak time with him, but I don't think I ever saw it. I saw bits and pieces of it. The one thing about the Haunted Mansion movie that I know I guess people aren't thrilled about, I'm not thrilled about, is Jared Leto's the Hatbox Ghost.
I mean,
or whatever.
I
He's
extremely
been,
dislike everything about Jared Leto, so that's
someone
fine.
posted though, and it was hysterical. They're like, why are we mad about this? This is the perfect opportunity because he likes to method act. He's playing a ghost, so he can just die. And then
I can't. I don't even know what to say about that. But I guess I'd
and
have
then he
to
won't
agree.
be in the movie anymore.
Super awkward. Anyway, the next up was Adam's big favorite movie. I think this was Adam's the best announcement, right, for you? The Lion King. We got Mufasa, The Lion King, coming out in 2024. Adam, tell everyone how excited you are about a prequel that you needed about The Lion King.
He's so excited.
I didn't even watch the other one.
Don't waste your time.
Well, now you got to watch it now because you got to see how did Mufasa become the Lion King? Don't you need to know? You can't just be the Lion King. You need a whole prequel series about it.
Maybe it'll end on like a Pinocchio cliffhanger.
Oh my God! Maybe he became king. Maybe he didn't.
And the best part is, I think Kevin, you brought this up. Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen are coming back as Timon and Pumbaa, and they're like, I guess, narrating the story or telling the story, but they didn't even know Mufasa.
Yeah,
so how could they tell his story if they never even?
Let's put it this way: they didn't announce anything.
Third hand.
They didn't announce anything about this movie. All we know is that I think it's being directed by the director of Moonlight, Barry Jenkins. That's really all they kind of announced, and they showed like a brief thing with Timon and Pumbaa telling a story. I guess it sounds like it's going to coincide maybe with like the current generation of Lion King, and they're like reflecting on Mufasa's story. I guess to me, it doesn't seem. It seems like a straight to Disney like DVD kind of movie. Honestly, like remember those ones that used to come out? That's what it kind of feels like. But whatever. People will be excited. I'm sure it'll make a ton of money. Next thing was Disney's Snow White, another live action remake here. Rachel Zelger and Gal Gadot will be in this. Gal Gadot playing the evil queen, which I think is kind of cool. Snow White could definitely use an update in terms of things, but again, with the way the track record is for these Disney live actions, I don't know what we're going to get. Any excitement at all, really, with Snow White? We briefly touched on it, I think, a few podcasts ago, didn't we? We talked about the Seven Dwarfs was like a whole controversy if they're going to be played by, because I think they were going to be CGI. Yeah, and there was no talk about that, which is interesting. That they kind of just said, "Oh, we're not gonna talk about that anymore."
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there any excitement at all? I think Gal Gadot's really good. I do like her as Wonder Woman. I've seen.
That's good casting for the evil queen.
Yeah, and she seems really
excited.
Yeah,
I think she could be a good evil queen.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something. Adam's like, no, Adam. Nah.
I just love people.
I don't know. I just
her.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gal Gadot since like Death on the Nile.
Adam's just like riding through this first part of the presentation. He's just like, we're just getting through this.
I don't know. These live action movies, they usually just don't do it for me.
Yeah, I know. They don't do it. Well, apparently they do it for the box office because kids love them. Julie, you always say how much the kids love them. That's why when you asked me about Pinocchio, I thought that was interesting because, I'm not a kid, so I guess I really shouldn't answer for a younger generation, but they do love this stuff. I mean, I guess they have a...
I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to reflect back on that. But one final announcement was, I guess the biggest movie you could argue for at least Walt Disney Studios themselves, The Little Mermaid live action remake, the final one. We did get a trailer of, I think it's Hall Bailey will be playing Ariel. I'm not too sure. I don't know if this is her first bigger role, I want to say. I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with the actress. I'm going to be honest with you. It was fine. If anything, the trailer, which I thought was really kind of sad in a lot of ways, is from what I remember, the animated film, and we actually talked about this on the channel because we did review the original Little Mermaid. I gave it an A+ because that's a phenomenal piece of craftsmanship, that movie, just from the animation standpoint, music composition. For only thing I could tell, and I don't know how early on the footage was that we saw, I'm assuming this was like a finalized piece of footage at least. It lacked in color. the color palette was very meek and like dark. And I think Flounder was in the scene, and you know, I remember Flounder being a bright yellow and blue kind of colored character. You know, I don't know what to expect from this. How about you, Julie? I know this is one of you weren't happy about this movie.
I know, but especially with like the Flounder comment, I think it was like the second time I was watching the trailer because I didn't even notice him the first time. And I see the little, I'm like, is that Flounder? I'm like, I can't even see him. He's got no colors. Like, I don't know. I'll say it was very dark. She's got a good voice. It's hard. My philosophy with the live actions is you should take not lesser known, but movies where like Pinocchio could have been a really good live action adaptation because it's been so long ago. Yeah, it's some people's favorites, but you can do something different with it. When you take one that's just like so beloved, like Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, even The Lion King, which again, that's not even live action. It's like if you change it, you're going to make people upset because those are pretty much perfect movies. But then if you don't change anything, you're going to make people upset because what was the point? You literally just remade the same movie. So this is the same kind of thing. Like The Little Mermaid is just so iconic, so classic. Like, I don't know. I don't think it, I have no intention of really seeing it unless it's like not free, but unless it's on Disney Plus, you know, like, and maybe I'll watch it.
This one was not a Disney Plus exclusive. I'll just make a quick note. This was going to be going straight to theaters. How about you, Adam? Any extra commentary for The Little Mermaid there, or just not doing it for you?
I don't know. It's. I mean, we've talked about things like this before, where it's like, why ruin a good thing? Right. I mean, nothing against any of the actors or actresses. It's just like, why do it?
Why?
Exactly.
If it's not broken, why try and fix it?
Right.
And then they're being compared to like this uncomparable thing, you know, like
right.
As phenomenal as she might be, she's never going to live up to the original.
I mean, as an actor, I think that's maybe the most daunting task you have to look at is you're going to be compared to the original source material, you know, one for one, no matter what. And I don't know, as an actor, if I were an actor, I don't know if I would want that task. I think that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I remember that was huge, which I mean, he's on the outs now, but like when Will Smith was cast as the genie, he said, he's like, you know, these are impossible shoes to fill. There's no way I can do it. And granted, you know, the live action Aladdin had some interesting points, like, but he did put his own spin on it. I could appreciate it. I liked his Prince Ali version. Again, nowhere near Robin Williams. It's untouchable, you know. But he did his own thing, which you can admire.
Right. No, I agree. It's interesting to see what they go with, but you know, Disney, they seem to be riding the train of live action remakes and, you know, sequels to some older films. The sequels, I think, have me interested. Not so much the live action remakes, but we'll see. We'll see what Disney has to put out, but that's good to know from them. Wrapping up, we're going to go now into Pixar, who had a few interesting announcements here. The first one being Elemental. Elemental is about fire and water who come together. It looks like Ember and Wade are played by Leia Lewis and Mamadou Athie. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. That's just my poor pronunciation skills. That'll be coming out June 16th. So that looked interesting. First thing I thought of, Adam, can you think of what CGI or what animated character he looks like? The main guy, the water guy?
You were thinking of Osmosis Jones.
Yes, I was, sir. Yes, I was. Why is that design so popular? Isn't this like the second or third time he's come up?
I don't know, but it's strikingly accurate.
Osmosis Jones, again, something we need to really talk about on the channel because I feel like there's so much inspiration for that movie. It's kind of over the top to some extent. People just really love that idea, especially Pixar. They seem to, have a weird fascination with that movie from Inside
the body,
Out,
into the mind.
Just saying, they seem to really love it. But yeah, that looks interesting. Fire and water trying to come together. We'll see what happens. You know, we really didn't get much by that. We really just got the premise and a picture. So I'm interested to see what comes from that. Next thing was this was kind of a big announcement, right? It's a series from Pixar, the first series that they're putting out called Win or Lose. It's going to be starring Will Forte as Coach Dan. Essentially, it's about a series about a coach with a bunch of kids, and it tells these mini stories. The interesting idea, though, is that each of these stories, it takes place during the same time, but it's from each kid's perspective about what happens. So that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? At least they're doing Pixar, again, kind of shaking things up a little bit. I think changing up the formula. Any expectations? You guys have anything for this? Just, anything, really?
Yeah, I love Will Forte. I think he's hysterical. So I think there's going to be some good comedy in there. Hoping to maybe get some like Sandlot-esque vibes of like, a team of baseball players coming together. So it should be cute,
Yeah, I think
it's interesting that it's going to be a series. They've never done anything like that.
No, and I'm kind of, it's Pixar. I feel like, I don't know if you agree, Adam. I feel like they've gotten like the short end of the stick lately with a lot of their releases. A lot of their movies just came to Disney Plus. We didn't get to see much, but because making.
No, I agree. It's
making
like they kind of shafted them to
right.
Sorry for your no movie theater release. Here you go.
Yeah, especially Luca, which is a really big shame because Luca might be one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time.
No, I agree.
It's up there for me. And that should have been a theater experience. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that not to have been there. Well, I guess COVID's an excuse, but still, nonetheless, it shouldn't have been there. I would have just held off on it, honestly, and released it later because it was that good. It was definitely a phenomenal movie.
Or Charge, because I know like Raya and the Last Dragon, I think came out a couple weeks before Luca, and I don't know if it was in theaters or not. I don't know if we were there yet, but that was, like you said, that premium Disney experience where you had to pay to watch that first. And then, like, it's just such a slap in the face for everyone who worked on those projects where it's like, okay, we're charging people $30 to rent Raya, but here's Luca.
Right. And I think we're going to see another big movie I'm actually really excited for. Adam, I think you're going to be pretty excited for this one. Elio was announced by Pixar. Do you want to talk a little bit about that movie? What was shown?
Sure, that was the one about the boy that kind of gets transported. What is it, across the universe or something? And they misinterpret him for being like the speaker for Earth. Yeah,
he's from an intergalactic. It's listed here actually. Intergalactic ambassador from planet Earth.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, since we brought up Luca, this is also from the same director, which is very interesting. So, I don't know. I think this movie might have potential to be another big one, especially we're going back into the sci-fi genre. So that's always exciting.
Intergalactic adventures are always fun. So
yeah, it looks cute. The designs are, at least from the promo art, shows a young boy standing about like a portal going into a galaxy. Very anime influenced. Once again, it's interesting to see Pixar kind of leaning in that direction. It's great to see, honestly, taking, not directly copying, of course, but at least leaning in that direction. We saw a lot of Miyazaki influences with Luca, so it's nice to see maybe another film of theirs is going to, turn out something. Another film announced, which I don't know how I feel about it. Inside Out 2 was announced by Pixar. Did anybody want this? We'll start with that. Did anybody want a sequel to Inside Out?
I'm going to start with there was potential for it. At the end of the first movie, they show, what's that big button? It was the puberty button. I would have originally been excited to see this until I found out right before this was announced that Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling aren't going to be returning due to, I guess, contract and pay issues. Again, they weren't huge characters in the first movie, but those are just two comedic forces that I've always loved from SNL, The Office. So knowing that the whole emotional team is not going to be intact is a little disappointing to me, especially because those are two, maybe not so much fear, but like disgust during your puberty years is definitely going to like ramp up a little bit. So I'm sad to see, that Disney wouldn't negotiate really with them.
Right. And I'm surprised. Inside Out to get a sequel, I know it was very successful. I think box office wise, it was a very successul film. Adam, would this have been one that you would have pegged to have gotten a sequel right away?
No, I really think that there's so many other Pixar films that probably would be more deserving of a sequel than this one. Especially like Luca. Like I would have loved to have seen more of that, honestly.
Yeah, and there's a story to tell with them in their like adolescence, being older and stuff like that. I think there's maybe a more interesting tale to be told. Inside Out, it worked for what it was. I think the movie is very good. But for it to get a sequel, do I really want that? I don't know. If anything, Pixar does prove that they can kind of change things up a little bit as far as their formula. So hopefully they have something new and exciting to show going forward. We'll have to wait and see, like we typically do.
And it is interesting to see, especially if they are going to go like that whole adolescence puberty route, like because they did that whole thing with Turning Red to mixed reactions to families and stuff like that. So I don't know, 2 movies in that similar vein,
Right.
tackling that topic.
Right, so it's interesting. I think we got a strong showing from Pixar this year. Especially the original titles. I think was a very strong showing. We do have some time for them to come out. I know that a lot of them aren't relatively soon, so it will take some time. But again, Pixar, it's glad to see that they're still trying to push the button, even if they are kind of like the redheaded stepchild. Sorry, Julie, no offense, but a redheaded stepchild of the Disney studio. It's a shame because Pixar, I think, is superior in terms of strength. Especially in their especially within the Disney family. But we'll see. We'll see what Pixar has to bring us. Going into the next part, Walt Disney Animation Studios was next. We're just going to zoom through these, I think, pretty quick. Zootopia Plus was announced. That'll be a series. It's called a show that is not a sequel series. It's actually a midquel series. That's a new one, guys. A midquel series as the shorts focus on different characters during the timeline of the film. Inoffensive, I guess. Zootopia needed that. It's just working off another property. We'll see.
It just feels like they're just trying to expand all of their universes in any way possible.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Zootopia had such an immersed thing where we only got like glimpses of it, all those different biomes, and it's a show, so it's inoffensive. Kids can throw it on and have a good time with it. It's a little more background into that world.
It reminds me of, and keep in mind I didn't watch any of this yet, but the Baymax show that came out on Disney Plus. It's just stories, right, from that world. Inoffensive, quick watches if you're interested. That's fine. That works for that. I would like to see a Zootopia sequel movie in the future. I think there is potential for that. For right now, though, that seems kind of fun. Next movie, another new original movie, so this is kind of cool. Iwaju, I believe is the pronunciation. I could be wrong. It's a journey into a futuristic version of Lagos, Nigeria, where the first look of the movie. It's an original series that will stream on Disney Plus in 2023. So that's kind of cool. It seems like it's going like the Black Panther kind of route, with that futuristic style. Seems kind of interesting. So I'm curious to see where that series will go. Again, not really much was shown, so I feel like there's not much to really talk about. Just, again, more of that futuristic kind of storytelling. Next one was Strange World, which we did get a trailer relatively recently with this movie, with Jake Gyllenhaal starring in it. Now, Adam, what did you think of this movie? I feel like this is something that you might have been interested in, as far as some of those old-timey sci-fi throwbacks. Seem pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah. I'm interested in it. I would. I think it has potential as well.
I think so. It's hard, right? We didn't really get much from Disney Animation, which I'm kind of surprised. I think maybe they had one of the weaker showings of this besides, the actual Disney live action movies. I thought we didn't really get much, right? I think we got mostly still images of everything. We weren't given a lot of stuff to sink our teeth in, but so that's still moving on track, which is good to see. Strange World, I think, again, another movie that has potential to be something.
That's coming out this year too, right?
Yeah, it actually is November 23rd. So, and it's going to be in theaters. Mm-hmm. Interesting how Disney's flagship studios seem to get the priority for releases versus Pixar and some other ones. Sure, there's nothing to do with that. Interesting. Last movie from Disney Animation, which arguably I think is their biggest movie that they put out in years. It's a movie called Wish. So Wish pretty much is it's a animated feature film. It looks like it's going to be shot with like original hand-drawn animation mixed with CGI. It's celebrating the anniversary of Disney. It's going to include some new songs, which we haven't really gotten from a lot of Disney movies. This is going to be a big film. Essentially, it's about the wishing star that appears in all the Disney movies. So as Adam was saying, I think Disney's doing some world building. I want to say Wish sounds like it's kind of like connecting all the Disney movies. I don't know if I got that vibe from what they announced. Maybe. Because the wishing star kind of shows up in every Disney movie, right? It's always the wish upon a star kind of thing.
I don't know. It's very bizarre what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, I know. Julie, didn't you hear one of the songs or something? One of them?
No, your sister did. She knows the
she's
songwriter, I guess, behind it. And apparently she's all new songs, Julia Michaels.
Okay, Julia Michaels. Okay, so she's a pretty good composer and singer. Looks like other songs other people such as Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber will be participating. Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm not you said this is like a blend of like CGI and like
it's weird that it was like very quickly like thrown under the rug, but it's like a watercolor technique. So you know how like a lot of the Disney anime movies are painted with watercolor. It sounds like the skeletal systems will be CG, but it'll be like a lot of hand painted watercoloring. So we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, based off the first image, but it's a still image. It's hard to tell. Like,
right. I wish we got more.
I'm not like thrilled with the way it looks. It looks very
tangled.
Maybe more so with the human character. Like I'm looking at it right now. Like it just looks cheap.
Oof.
Like I don't know.
That's a very harsh word.
We need that. What's that? Roblox noise. Oof.
But the little goat looks like super cute. Like I don't know.
Julie holds it up to the phone for everyone who's just listening to it. She's holding up the picture. It looks cheap. She's like waving her phone at the thing.
Like the background looks good. Like the little goat looks cute, but it looks like a TV show, like a Disney Channel TV show.
I mean, to be fair, we're judging this based on a still image.
I know, that's what I thought. I prefaced it with that. I said, I know it's just a still image, however.
So pretty much, let's put it this way. We don't know anything more than what we told you. We'll see what happens. Let's go on to something more interesting here. So that was the end of Disney animation. Next up, Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm bringing us all our favorite Star Wars stuff. First trailer we got was Andor, which is coming out very, very soon. September 21st, which is just a few days from now as of the recording of this video. How about you, Adam? I know you loved Rogue One.
Rogue One was okay. I didn't mind it.
I like Rogue One a lot, actually.
Yeah, I liked it.
I liked it a lot. More than most people.
I'm surprised that this is only 3 episodes, but I guess there's...
Wait, is it?
Yeah,
no, it's
only
not.
3 episodes.
Get out.
Yeah.
No, it's a 3-episode series premiere.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Whoa. I'm like, oh, shit. Is it real? I didn't actually double check. You convinced me.
But I mean, how much more of a story is there to tell there?
I think it leads up right until the beginning. Like where this show's going to end is going to be like the beginning of Rogue One.
So don't quote me on this.
He's beating the crap out of that person in the alley.
Yeah, they say literally. Yeah, she was actually right. That's how he's debuted. Apparently, it does lead right up to that. They said there's at least 2 seasons worth of material. So I don't know how far back they're going. I always thought, and I think the characters were very interesting in Rogue One. I actually liked all the characters significantly.
Especially Cassian.
Yeah, the problem is they just had no time. You know, that was the movie was kind of a mess overall. The first half is kind of like meh, and then the second half is like, oh my god, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. It's just it really had no middle ground a lot, and I think Andor could be like a solution to that if we see other characters involved, which they wouldn't be if we're going by the timeline of Rogue One. So this would just really be about Andor, who probably does have the most legs to stand on as far as his backstory. Because in the movie, it was very, I'm all about the rebellion. I don't care about anything else. And suddenly like, yeah, I'm going to flip flop. So it's nice to see maybe a little backstory as to like how he got to like his mentality to where he was at. The trailer didn't really do much for me, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I think is interesting, which I think we're going to see a theme here with a lot of the Lucasfilm projects that are coming out, is we're going to see just things developed more, right? Like we've always heard how bad the Empire was as far as living under the Empire. I think Andor is really going to like stress that, like how bad people really had the situation. Like we've seen bits and pieces of that in like The Mandalorian and things, but Andor seems to really be like, drilling that home. So that's interesting. I think Andor has some potential legs to stand on. I'll definitely be checking that out. Next up was Willow, which I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I have zero interest in Willow. When I was younger, I watched the movie. I didn't really care for it. I barely could tell you what it was about right now, to be honest. I watched this trailer for a series based on Willow. It looks like it's a continuation. Actually looked okay. I was actually genuinely surprised. How about you, Adam? Any interest in Willow whatsoever?
Yeah, honestly, the trailer is making me want to go back and watch the original.
Right.
Honestly,
Yeah, because I feel like when I was younger, maybe I didn't appreciate what I had.
right?
Maybe it could be. It could
Yep.
not be. It's one of those
Yes, that's true
situations.
too.
Right, but I think I want to go back and watch it because this show looks, and I was talking to Julie about it briefly, and Julie, I remember what we said was it was adventure, right? Is that what the feeling you got? There's a lot of really classic Lucasfilm adventure in this.
Well, yeah, you took it perfectly because I was saying I have no anything. I don't know anything about Will. I never saw the movie. I've only known what you've told me, and it was always kind of like, eh. So this was actually the trailer I put off watching until like minutes before we recorded this.
Honesty, people, that's how we do it.
Yes, but I was very like it was enjoyable to watch, and I'm like seems to be a good balance of light and dark. You have some humor, you have some fun, and then he said it's adventure. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It just feels like a fun adventure. I'm like excited to kind of jump into this fantasy world. So I'm definitely like hoping to give Willow a watch sometime soon.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. This was 1988.
Yeah, the year I was born.
It's as old as you, Kevin.
Oh, so that's really old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the projects from Lucasfilm, and the one thing that Disney's been missing is that adventure aspect in a lot of their films. I don't know if they get like too focused on some of the more serious things. Either it's too goofy or it's too serious. But I feel like that adventure tone, kind of like the old Indiana Jones movies have that, where there's like I know it's so generic to say, it's a sense of adventure, right? Like what's looming around the corner or what the next step is. Like, I feel like there's something missing, and Willow might actually be the solution to that. So I'm curious to see in a series format too what they're going to bring us. That's going to premiere on Disney Plus on November 30th. So mark your calendars for that one.
Yeah, like the next few months is going to be like jam packed with content on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and that's kind of exciting. So there'll be lots of stuff for us to talk about. So that's always cool. Adam, did you watch any of The Bad Batch?
I have not.
Are you disappointed that you haven't? Or is that something you were even interested in watching? Or
I figure at some point I'll get to it. I just haven't gotten around to it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. That's coming back January 4th. We got looks like a 16 episode sequel season, so that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's fine. I don't know about you. I get a little burnt out with so much Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah, no, I do too.
I know it's a huge era, and it's always been like the biggest era as far as storytelling for Star Wars. But I just get burnt out with that era. Like the clones, I know they have a lot to do and a lot of stuff going on, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just burnt out, I think.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because we weren't for a while, and then it just kind of too much of a good thing,
Yeah, I mean, they just are like, oh wow, this is working. Let's just keep doing it, and of course we're gonna get burnt out after a while.
Yeah, which is funny because then the next announcement right after that, which I have a totally different take on, was Star Wars: Tales of the Jedi.
I absolutely agree.
Adam, I don't know about you, but I bugged out when I saw
I was
this.
like, wow, this is awesome.
And Julie's
I'm
famous
super
words
stoked.
are, "Who is that guy?" I'm like, that's Count Dooku. Holy shit, that's Count Dooku.
I knew who that was.
You did not know who that was. Like, oh, why is that important? I'm like, are you kidding me?
I didn't say that.
You did. She's gonna deny it. Yeah, okay.
Even if that thought crossed my mind, I wouldn't have been able to ask it. You're like, holy crap, it's Count Dooku.
Well, this is my biggest thing. So with Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I was actually talking to some of my other friends about this. They didn't even know like that Count Dooku had a Darth name. Because it never really comes up. It's Darth Tyrannus, which that never actually... It came up once or twice, I believe, in the original Clone Wars movie. I don't think ever in the original Clone Wars TV show. I don't think it's ever. It's just straight up Count Dooku. More importantly, though, Count Dooku has a crazy-ass backstory, which if you've looked into any of like the lore with Star Wars, it's very interesting. Because, I mean, this is the guy who trained Qui-Gon Jinn. How did he fall so far? And it's cool that they're doing that, and they're kind of showing some more Ahsoka stuff, which I always think is interesting too. So they're going to mirror the two stories together. I don't know about you, Adam, but I think there's a lot of potential with this story. Just, again, to give Star Wars fans why Count Dooku is such an important character.
Oh, absolutely. I have a lot of high hopes for this one. So I'm excited that this will hopefully be, something worth it, a good story to tell.
Yeah, because it's always funny how important Count Dooku is to the series, but
right.
he never felt... We never knew much about him, really, if you think about it. He just kind of shows up one day, and that's kind of the end of it. And you're told all these things about him, how he was like one of the best Jedi that ever existed, but he fell so hard and stuff like that. I think there's a lot to explore there, so that's kind of cool. I just hope fans react to it like we are. I think fans will. I don't know about casuals, probably have a little less interest. Like Julie, I don't know how much interest you have really in it, because I know you only know from watching like what we've watched, so I know it's not.
I've never seen any of like the Clone Wars stuff, but I think I even said that I'm like I've never seen Clone Wars, but I actually want to watch the show. Okay, so yeah, that's good. So it's good. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't, and hopefully I'm not completely lost, but
no.
We'll see.
Yeah, but hey, the good thing about Star Wars is you can always like find yourself at some point. The more Star Wars you watch, the more just kind of like little knowledge gets thrown into your piggy bank there. Next series that was randomly announced, it was one image, was or there might have been a trailer, I don't know. At least there's nothing released to the public. Ahsoka was mentioned, the live action Ahsoka series. I'm excited for that. Rosario Dawson seems like a really good Ahsoka. Her story continues to be one of the more compelling, I think, in the Star Wars universe, ironically, just because of her relationship to Anakin, being his Padawan, and what she was doing in between the time of Rebels and all those shows. So I think there's a fun story there. I'm interested to see what they do. Adam, still excited for Ahsoka, or?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much of the series with Count Dooku will add to that, perhaps, as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Next series, which this was only an image, so I can confirm that, was the Star Wars Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law. Not much given about that. We just know it's an upcoming live-action Disney Plus series. No idea. They kept it very quiet, so I don't know. Maybe that'll tie into something that's coming in, like Mandalorian or Ahsoka or something along those lines. Interesting how they're never usually that quiet about things, right? Did anyone else find that kind of odd? How that was literally, that's all we know. We know the title and we know Jude Law's in it.
Well, maybe like you said, maybe there is going to be a connection to another project, and to avoid like spoilers. I don't know. They want to be kind of mum on the details, but Skeleton Crew kind of gives me like, not Andor vibes, but like that whole like, Suicide Squad, like we're going on a suicide mission, and we're just gonna have the Skeleton Crew and do what we got to do to help protect the rebellion.
Yeah. How about you, Adam? Any interest? Again, because even the image just shows Jude Law's face, and then the rest of the crew behind him is kind of blurred out. So either it's because they're not cast, or they just don't want to reveal anything. I'm not too sure. I don't know.
It kind of makes me wonder how much, like how far along it actually is. Maybe they have nothing to show.
That could be too. That's a good point. Maybe we're giving Disney too much credit, which we tend to do sometimes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for that. That was only given, I don't even know if we were given a date for that. I believe it was just no, it was just Disney Skeleton Crew. Keep an eye out.
I'm assuming 2023. That seems to be kind of, if it's not coming out in the next couple months, it's coming out sometime 2023.
Yeah, that would be a good estimate. So we'll keep up the news on that. If anything comes out, I'm sure we'll be talking about it. Last thing from at least the Star Wars standpoint was The Mandalorian Season 3. Julie was bugging out the return of Baby Yoda,
Grogu. Love him.
Merchandise flying off the shelves, ladies and gentlemen. She's the #1 fan.
I am.
I'm excited. I don't know what to tell you. We can talk more about Mandalorian. It seems like they're continuing the series in the right direction. I'm curious to see what they do with now he's no longer considered a Mandalorian, quote unquote. I'm interested to see where they take it, because I thought from the end of the last season they had maybe one direction where he was going to go back to Mandalore, and maybe that still is the case. I'm not too sure.
It looks like that way, at least for part of the season. Yeah. There's that whole with that one, I can't remember her name, but she's like, oh, you thought your dad was the only Mandalorian?
Right. And what do you think? And what do you think, Adam? I felt like Book of Boba Fett kind of threw off the series a little bit. Did you get that kind of vibe just because there was that weird in between?
Yeah. I don't know. It's because we talked about it then, but it was like everybody was so much more excited to see the Mandalorian than Boba Fett.
Right, exactly.
Make his appearance.
And it sucks because now I feel like Book of Boba Fett's kind of required viewing in order to go into this season. Because if you didn't watch Book of Boba, you're gonna have no idea how that happened between the two. Which, for casuals, that's probably a bigger deal. For us, not so much. We kind of take in all that kind of media. But if you're a casual fan just looking for the next season of The Mandalorian, you're gonna be like, what the hell happened? Right? Like, I'm sure there'll be a recap, but still, like, that's something you probably want to experience versus, just being told about it in a recap. But hey, we're getting more Mandalorian. That's always good to hear. That's the biggest series, I think, from Star Wars right now. Arguably the most successful thing they're putting out right now is The Mandalorian. So glad to see that's continuing. Last big thing, and this was pretty big, we didn't get to really see anything, which that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know how to really to take this. Indiana Jones 5 took the stage for Lucasfilm. Now, let's be honest here. I want to know, is anyone really excited about Indiana Jones at this point, knowing Harrison Ford's returning for the movie after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I'll give it a chance.
Okay. So Adams, give it a chance. Julie?
Gotta give it a chance. It's Indy.
It's Indy, but...
He's old, though. He's very old.
He's old, guys.
I don't know. Maybe I want to give it a chance because I want it to be good.
I know. He was old in The Force Awakens, and that was probably almost 10 years ago now.
Right.
Yeah. Just crazy to think.
It's a long time. It's a long time for him. You know, I was one of those things where, like, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, I alluded to, Harrison Ford is one of those guys, I feel like he just comes back for a paycheck more so recently. I know he kind of acts like he doesn't. I don't know. Indiana Jones gave me mixed vibes because I did see a couple videos of him just talking about it, and he kind of got teary-eyed when he was talking about returning as the character. And he said this was the last time. He's like, 100% this is the last time. Never doing this shit again, kind of thing. Which, you know, I get that's how Harrison Ford kind of is. I don't know. I don't know what to think. He's too old, to be honest. He was too old in Crystal Skull for a lot of what was going on in that movie. So I don't know how it's going to look in this one. You know, and if unfortunately the bad part is they never really pulled off what they wanted to in Crystal Skull, which was to create a successor to the Indiana Jones series to continue it on. And I don't know what's going to happen. Does anyone have any theories? I mean, again, we didn't get really anything to go on. The only thing is they brought some of like the older like stars back on stage. The guy who played what's his name? Short Round was actually there, who was awesome, and he was like hugging Indy on stage. He actually just had a big thing in Everywhere All at Once. He was actually in. He had a return to acting, so that's very cool for him. Nice little reuniting. I feel like though we didn't get anything of the movie. For what people said, there was a brief glimpse of it shown, and people were very excited about what they saw. And I'm surprised it never leaked online. If it did, you know, post a link in the comments actually so I could check it out because I'm trying to find it. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Anything at all? You know, what do you think? The big question I'll actually ask: is he going to die? Are they going to kill off Indy?
I want his successor to be Shia LaBeouf again.
Well,
yes.
Well, Adam, fortunately, Shia LaBeouf's fallen quite from favor with Hollywood and about everyone he's ever come in contact with in general.
You know what? I think he's on a redemption arc. He said he was. I mean, he fucked up a lot. But
he fucked up a lot. But he's on a redemption arc. He's okay now.
But he's trying though. He's throwing Olivia Wilde under the bus. He's doing a lot of stuff right now. But
yeah, I mean, he just lied about his one big movie and said, "Oh, none of it was true." So that's great.
Not even his one big movie. He just lied about his life.
Yeah, he lied about his life.
Bad.
Yeah, that's.
But
great.
he said he was sorry.
That's what I want to happen. So
that's
the only expectation I have right now.
Oh, okay.
I think either Indy's gonna die or he's gonna retire gracefully into academia full time. I'm gonna go back to Professor Jones.
So he's gonna die.
Or Dr. Jones, really, doctor, right?
Yeah. So he's gonna die, right? Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
sacrificing himself for his successor.
I don't know.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, the heir to be named.
The reality is.
Shia LaBeouf.
The reality is.
Adam, the song, Shia LaBeouf song.
Shia LaBeouf. Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. You know, I believe that about him on a side note, but I
think that's a true story.
I think that's a true story. If you're going to ask me about one, that probably did happen to somebody.
I believe that.
We should probably scrub this from the records. We don't want him coming out.
Yeah, we don't. Oh, great. Now we're gonna get probably sued by Shia LaBeouf. That's great. If he ever listens to our video here, if he made it this far, good for him. I guess I compliment him.
Come on the show.
Come on the show. I challenge you, Shia. Come on the show. Bring it on.
Speak your truth, Shia. Shia.
Bring it on. But let's be honest here. I think Disney's too greedy to let Indy slip from its fingers. So I would expect some kind of something set up for the future. I don't know. Unless they don't. I mean, maybe the best bet would be to like wrap up the original series, then try something new in the future. That would be my opinion. Maybe even a reboot, because I don't think we should lose Indiana Jones. I was hoping Uncharted would kind of fill that void that we had for Indiana Jones, and Adam would probably agree with this. I think Uncharted's mostly compared to Indiana Jones as far as like,
yeah,
and I thought maybe that movie would be the bridge that we wanted, and it certainly was not.
No, it was not.
No way, shape, or form, and it showing up on Netflix relatively sooner than later is probably evidence of that. Anyway, moving on, we're going to go to Marvel. Big Marvel news, guys. Big Marvel news, as always. A lot of things in the pipeline. We got to see a little more of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, who's excited about Black Panther? Adam? Black Panther?
I am.
Everyone. Okay. So what are you guys excited about? We didn't really get any new news about it, but I don't know. There's a lot of interesting pieces in this movie, don't you think? Especially with we have to recast Black Panther.
Atlantis. World building.
Yeah.
They look badass.
Right, and we could say that. There's no spoilers here. Namor's in the trailer, so Namor was shown.
Yeah.
What do you think, Adam?
I don't know. I just think there's a lot of potential that this movie has, just for, emotional aspect and just world building again. And I'm very excited to see where this is going to go.
And who's in the suit?
Yeah, that too.
Who do you
Shuri.
think?
I have no idea.
Does everyone think Shuri?
I don't want to say anything because I don't want to either be disappointed or wrong.
So
I think who's the other girl that was like kind of his love interest?
So now let's say this. So do you think the person you want and the person who it might actually be are the same thing? No.
Yes.
Yes. So who do you think? Just give us your thought. I want your best guess.
Who do you hope?
I don't know. I don't know. It could be anybody. I really have no idea.
So who do you want to be in the suit? Let's start from just who we know of. So obviously that would like take away like unknown people or anything like that. Who would you want?
If it were up to me, there would be a whole
I said, Adam,
multiverse.
we need to know who you want to be Black Panther going forward.
A rift opens up, and Killmonger comes back, and then bam, there's your new Black Panther. That would be my.
How cool would that be? If Michael B.
That's
Jordan,
what I would want to happen.
Right? If Michael B. Jordan like redeemed himself as Killmonger,
yes,
and
exactly,
came back to be the Black Panther. That's a cool story. That's not going to happen, but that's a cool story.
I know. That's why I'm going to.
What If plotline where they were switched or something like that?
Is that what happened? I didn't actually watch.
We didn't finish What If. We still never finished What If.
No, I know, but he was, because Black Panther, he ended up being Star-Lord. That was like the big thing, and people they wanted T'Challa Star-Lord more than they wanted Chris Pratt Star-Lord. Oof. Poor Chris Pratt.
I'm gonna say I want Shuri to be in the suit. However, I think it's going to be Nakia.
Okay.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I would have to rewatch the trailer, but there was like a moment in the trailer that it looked like Nakia was like in the suit, or like, I don't know. Because Shuri's kind of like his woman in the chair.
Right.
Almost. And yes, she's a skilled fighter, but Nakia's more trained in that.
Well, I think there's an interesting discussion. There's a lot of politics going on in the Marvel universe, and there always is, obviously. I know the actress who plays Shuri isn't well liked among what's been going on. I know there was some like anti-vax.
She got really hurt.
Yeah, she got really hurt. I know there were some anti-vaccination things that she had said, and I know that didn't fly well with a lot of people. Will that hold her back from being? I think she's the most logical choice. Shuri.
Well, if you think about like a succession, a kingly or queenly succession, she's technically the next in line.
Right, and I think there's a cool story there, right? Her having to grow into those shoes because she was the behind the scenes for him. So to see her have to become like the new Black Panther, the what's that? The queen of literally Wakanda. There's a lot going on there. So
yeah,
I think there's a story. I agree with Adam though. I think that Killmonger redemption arc would be so much better. It really would be.
That'd be really cool.
I guess you never know, but it's not.
And hopefully my one thing is I was never a huge fan of Black Panther. Again, I respect what it did as far as, its casting and its direction. And overall, though, I felt the movie was a little more generic in some places. Wakanda Forever is not looking like that, in my opinion, especially from what I'm getting from the trailer. There's a lot of this movie's oozing a lot of style,
a lot of lore.
Yeah, a lot of lore and things
I think
like
the problem
that.
with the first Black Panther, I know Kevin and I have talked about this a lot. Like so many Marvel movies, like the villains are just. I mean, Killmonger was great, but like if you think about the final fight, it was like a good Black Panther versus a bad Black Panther. So it's like the same person versus the same person. You know what I mean? Like in Ant-Man, it was Ant-Man versus what was he?
Ant-Man.
Yellow Jacket.
Yeah,
evil
like Ant-Man.
People in suits that are just fighting each other. So like
Iron Man versus evil Iron Man.
Another robot, right? So like, but again, that's not to say Killmonger wasn't great. Michael B. Jordan was fantastic in that role. But when you put them both in identical suits that are just a little bit different in color, like it's hard to create like that visual storytelling there. So you have like two fantastical empires and the heads or the kings or the successors of those empires kind of butting heads. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and Namor is a cool character for sure.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. He got body shamed by the person who like originally drew Namor or something like that.
Disgusting. People are terrible.
And he's like 60 years old. He's like, oh, when a 60-year-old looks better than the 60-year-old man who drew Namor looks better than the actor playing it. Like, shut up, dude.
Yeah, seriously. Like, if that's what people are worried about, they can go to hell. Let's move on. Next series that was announced, Ironheart is announced. Ironheart is a relatively new character in the Marvel universe. Even the Marvel comics, Ironheart's still relatively new. We didn't really get much information. The only thing we know is Riri Williams. She'll be the star of the series. She's actually going to be starring, or she'll be introduced in Wakanda Forever. So we kind of got that announcement, which is kind of interesting. Does anyone know anything really about Ironheart? Any kind of knowledge or anything like that? I mean, I just know she takes over the mantle of Iron Man in some respects. She becomes like another Iron Man or Ironheart. Clearly,
that's about the extent that I know.
Yeah, so I'll give it a chance. You know, I'm excited to see. I want another Iron Man in the Marvel universe. I think I understand why they killed Tony Stark, and I think it's interesting and it's good for like the story because it kind of came full circle. So it's kind of cool to see. But I think there is something lacking with that character missing. So excited to see what Ironheart does. Hopefully it adds something new to the discussion. That'll be a Disney Plus series as well. That will not be a movie. Which there was a lot of Disney Plus series announced. Do you guys feel like there's more series than movies at this point? It seems like that seems to be the new pacing.
I'm probably it must be cheaper. Yeah. So I guess if that's
clearly, if Moon Knight's any indication, it's clearly cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, so it seems to be working to a certain extent too, though.
Right. No, I think so.
I think it's cheaper, and it allows them to which we've talked about makes things complicated. It allows them to lay the groundwork for bigger things.
Right.
Make character introductions and stuff like that. But then in the long run, if you're not watching the shows and you're just watching the movies, you're going to be, who the hell is this when you watch the next movie?
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys. Again, this is another discussion maybe we'll save for another time, but I do miss the times of simpler Marvel. I do miss that to some extent, especially like Iron Man 1 or just Guardians of the Galaxy where it's just one story and there's a few little Easter eggs here, but they're their own movie, right? I don't need to study the Marvel history encyclopedia to know everything that's going on to appreciate it. Even as someone who embraces nerd culture and things like that, even I want a simpler story. I don't always want a reference to everybody. I just want a good story. That's all I really want. And I don't know. Marvel doesn't seem to agree because the cinematic universe and multiverse stuff is really popular right now. Going on, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania took the stage. Again, not much news really about it. We just know that Kang is going to be the featured main villain in the movie, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, I think that was really the only thing. Guys, have any thoughts on that? Anything you're looking forward to, maybe with Ant-Man or?
Very excited for Ant-Man.
Julie's not excited for Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, there you go.
What more could you want?
Yeah, Ant-Man's been one of those, I feel like one of the better Marvel entries. Each one's usually pretty decent. I actually really do enjoy the Ant-Man movies just alone.
And Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo is going to be back.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Woo is going to be in it too, right? That was the other thing. So maybe he learned the magic tricks by now, right?
He did. He was getting better at up-close magic.
Yep, that's right. I forgot about that. Yep.
Yes.
See, it's funny because I talk about simpler times, but that's like a deep cut almost at this point. Like, you know what I mean? It's just funny to see. You know, it's
Jimmy
funny to see
Woo's-
what they carry.
Jimmy Woo and Wong are the heart of the Marvel universe
They
at this
kind of
moment.
are, right?
And we're getting Kang in Quantumania.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I said. Yeah, Kang's going to be the main antagonist.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we don't
He
really
was
know
great
much
in the
about
movie.
Kang. You
It's
know,
supposed to open up like the multiverse more, isn't it? Like
I
that's
think
supposed to be
so.
the movie.
maybe.
At least that's what I read or heard somewhere.
That sounds about
Yeah.
right.
This is going to be like a huge, because that's the one thing I think we talked about it in the last episode too. Like we keep having these like multiversal episodes with Spider-Man No Way Home and WandaVerse and which show had multiverse elements.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like Loki.
Yeah.
But then nothing's happening. So it's like, how are there not like further reverberations because of these events?
No, that's a fair point because I feel like the events in Loki, did they necessarily?
I thought that was it.
Did they really affect anything?
Not that we've seen.
As of right now, no, I don't think so.
No, that's interesting actually that you bring that up because there were.
Or maybe they just they're not aware of it because
it's just
how it ended. He was in another.
I really think it's interesting you said that because now that I think about it, all the events where there's been like multiversal like issues have all been caused by the plot of the movie, not because of some other outside plot. So are all these things just coincidentally happening at the same time?
So then what could be interesting is if Ant-Man Quantumania is like the final straw where like you have these fissures from these other events and then whatever happens in this movie just finally blows the whole thing open.
Well, that's what I always found interesting. I always wondered, like, I guess if you could go back through like all the Marvel movies, is there one true like through line that you could watch without having to watch every single movie? Like, to get from like the beginning to the Avengers to Infinity War, like you don't necessarily have to watch like every movie to understand.
I mean, would it be the Avengers movies themselves? You just have to watch the Avengers movies, but then I mean, you're missing character introductions at that point.
You could like, but as a viewer, you could like figure it out. You know what I mean? Like it's like fine, like okay, oh, Spider-Man's here, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to know everything that happened in Spider-Man to understand who Spider-Man is in the movie. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, I'd argue there's probably quite a few movies that you can skip.
Maybe we should do that one.
There's definitely ones you can skip, but then I feel like there's other ones that you can't skip.
Right.
Yeah, that would be fun to talk about one day, though. I think there's something there. I've always heard like Captain America ones. Like you could just maybe watch like the Captain Americas through Avengers and like kind of figure it out to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, you can figure like I don't know. Like I'm thinking of like the Avengers movies and like, oh, would I be lost if I didn't see anything? Like if you never watched Guardians, you like that kind of helps build like the threat of Thanos a lot, you know. I don't know.
But then, do you really need to know like the Thanos backstory? Can you just get?
No, because you get it in Endgame anyways.
Well, yeah. And then Thanos is like, oh, he's a big alien coming to Earth. What more do you need to know? You know, I don't know.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting conversation to have. But all right, so this is the one I've really been waiting for. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. A special presentation from Disney Plus, from Marvel Studios. So not even like a series; it's like a special event. I think that's how it's labeled. It's weird. It's not a series. It's just like a special event. Is Werewolf by Night. Now, I'm not too familiar with the source material with Werewolf by Night, but goddamn it, am I excited by Werewolf by Night. A black and white werewolf, like old monster movie style series. Man-Thing, I think, is in it as well, which is like it's a very unexplored aspect of the Marvel universe because everyone always associates Marvel with like superheroes and supervillains and stuff of that nature. There's a lot of like really kooky stories in the Marvel universe about like weird, obscure monster characters that really have no place with the other stuff. But it seems like Werewolf by Night's going to be exploring that. And I don't know, Adam, I bugged out when I saw this series. I was like, oh my God.
I'm invested. I'm ready to see this. I hope it is so good though.
I hope they blow it out of the water. And I think they will. I think especially if I don't know if it is going to be black and white. They didn't really... I'm assuming
it alluded to that, at least maybe a good portion of it.
It better be,
maybe,
because that's like
I would like it to be.
Yeah, because that's hyper stylized, gritty horror. Like this is what I want. Like I mean, you don't have to get gory or anything like that. You could do that without, because even like the original monster movies really aren't that gory. If we're talking about like Universal monster movies, a lot of it's like off screen and it's like people like like dead. That's fine. Like and it seems like it's gonna have that kind of cheese and. I know, Julie, me and you have been watching some of like the old classic stuff, like American
Yeah.
Werewolf in London and stuff. We've been going back, and probably for the Halloween season, we'll probably go back and try to watch some more classics. What do you think? I know I was like, probably was annoyed because I wouldn't shut up. I was so excited about it.
No, I'm excited for this, especially delving back into like the original werewolf stuff. It's nice to see like supernatural characters have such like a cyclical nature where you have like your vampire trend, then your zombie trend. So like maybe this is an uptick of werewolf lore and stuff like that. It's always fun to see. And it's always interesting to see, you know, different iterations of the werewolf. How are they going more wolf? Are they going more humanoid? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
And I think again,
you
and
know,
the fact that it's a special presentation makes me think it might not have a huge impact on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's fine. You know, like I said, maybe simpler Marvel's better. Let me have these oddball stories I don't need to know a ton of backstory about. Just introduce characters and have some fun with it. That's what it seems like to me. So that's something I think we guys really need to keep an eye out on. That'll be streaming on Disney Plus October 7th for those at home. Next, we have Secret Invasion was shown. Nick Fury donning or I shouldn't say really him, Samuel L. Jackson donning the pseudo eye patch of Nick Fury, or glass eye, whatever you want to call it. We've been talking about this for a while, Adam, right? I know Secret Invasion was a big thing. We've been talking about Skrulls for a long time, and then we did get Skrulls. Yeah. They weren't necessarily what we thought we were going to get.
Right.
Do you think this is a change for that? What are your thoughts on Secret Invasion? We didn't get much, I feel like, but
just the whole invasion worries me because, you know, how do I know who anybody is?
Right.
Anybody could be a Skrull. I will stand by that.
Right. And I'm interested to see, why are the Skrulls bad now? Right. Because they were painted as very peace-loving people that were kind of shunned. And I always thought maybe some of their nature was hidden, you know, with some of the stuff that actually happened to them in Captain Marvel, which the one thing Captain Marvel did pretty well, regardless if I didn't really enjoy that movie that much, was the Skrull aspect of the story. I thought was very interesting, seeing how they were kind of like just, you know, taken advantage of and pretty much, you know, deemed like non-existent to some extent.
Right.
But I'm curious.
That could be the villain origin story. You know what I mean? Like within every society, there's always going to be a faction of people who dissent from the norm.
Well, yeah.
So you could have your group. You know, like Talos, he's part of the good side.
Right.
But there's always that bad side. That's like, you know what? We're over this. I'm curious to see. Like Adam said, anyone could be a Skrull. So like, is there going to be a character that we've been dealing with for a while, and then we're like, oh shit, they were Skrull the whole time?
Yeah,
I will hate that.
I know, and that's kind of
do it.
And you know what? The Marvel Cinematic Universe is already decently complicated to some extent, so I don't know how much more this is going to layer things to make it even a little more complicated for people to understand. I don't know. I wonder how much it's a Disney Plus series, so I don't know how much impact it'll have. It might be just like tell its story. It'll have like some repercussions, but not as much as you would think. That seems to be what I'm thinking. We didn't get much from the trailer, though. A lot of it was just action shots of like Olivia Colman, Don Cheadle, Martin Freeman, all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents kind of doing their thing in like actiony poses, like waving a gun around or running from something, or, that's fine. We don't really want too much of spoilers. So it's interesting to see what happens next. But keep an eye on that. That's going to be 2023. We'll have Secret Invasion showing up. Next series, which I thought they had ignored, but apparently they're not. Armor Wars is coming to Disney Plus. Looks like that'll tie into Secret Invasion potentially to some point. That'll be Rhodey. That's Don Cheadle, who plays James Rhodes, War Machine. He'll be taking the head on in that series. Nothing's begun filming. Nothing else was announced by that. Just 2023. I don't know. I feel like there's not much really to say about that one, so we're just gonna. Armor Wars is not canceled. Just keep that in mind. It is coming at some point. Then Loki season 2 took the stage. Again, we didn't get much about that. Just that Ki Hu Kwan, who also was in Everywhere All at Once, she was phenomenal in that movie.
The short round.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Him, Ki Hu Kwan. That's who his name is. Short round. Okay. He'll be making his debut in Loki, so that's kind of cool. That was like the big announcement for that show. Again, nothing else really stated. We'll see.
I don't think that one started filming yet either.
No, and Loki.
I think they did, but not like there's nothing to show for it yet, really.
Yeah. Loki was very quiet. which there's probably reasons for that. I think that show has a lot to do with what's going on maybe overall with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's something to keep an eye on. I don't believe there was a release date, at least not listed here. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below if you happen to know the release date for that. Next was the big one, which was kind of a letdown for me. Fantastic Four, which we already knew was going to be made. They just really announced director Matt Shackman will be directing the Fantastic Four, which will come out November 8th, 2024. I do expect that date to be changed in the future, probably pushed back, to be honest, if anything. I don't see it coming out in November. We don't even have a cast yet. We don't know anything about Fantastic Four, which is curious to me.
You're looking at, that's 2 years, so...
I expect it to be pushed back. I don't see it coming out. I've
been seeing a lot of Penn Badgley, like his name circling around as Reed Richards.
Yeah, I'm curious.
From You,
the cast is going to be very a hot topic for Fantastic Four, as it always is, especially with the nature of Marvel movies and whatnot, and the toxicity of fans not liking change or anything new. So when we hear more, I'm sure we'll know more about that. I'm sure Fantastic Four will be in the news again, but for me, kind of a down, a little bit of a letdown. That was exciting. I was expecting a lot more for Fantastic Four. Next, Echo took the stage. That'll be fine. Maya Lopez, who will be returning as Echo. She debuted in Hawkeye, for those who watched Hawkeye, which I thought she was a pretty cool character. Again, not really much with her. I know that Daredevil will be in that show, so he'll be making an appearance. Also, Kingpin will be making an appearance in that show, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who, best actor in the world, best Kingpin, I would say, maybe up there, right? It's exciting. And then Vincent D'Onofrio actually took the stage for Daredevil, who will be coming back. What are your thoughts?
It seems like I don't know, I was looking into this and it's like they kind of, like the Netflix show isn't canon anymore or something like that.
That's my takeaway as well. Yeah, that's my takeaway as well. It's going to be, I think we just said 18 episodes. That was actually recently announced. That was not at the Expo, but that came out later. It's an 18.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah. I know pretty much what they've been saying is that the series will be more of like, it won't be a comedy, right? It's definitely not going to be as comedic, I think, as the other shows. It'll have elements, but it'll be a lighter tone, but still the same serious Daredevil, but not like the Netflix level of severity, apparently. So take that for what you will. So maybe fans of that Daredevil series will be let down a little bit, but I don't know.
I do have high hopes for that one too. Because Daredevil's such a cool character, so I'm interested to see where it's going to go.
Two levels too, right? You have the superhero aspect and you have the law interesting aspect. Not many characters have that kind of fluidity of storytelling, so I think that could be really fun. Also, a throwback to the original suit, it looks like, which I don't know how I feel about that. The yellow and red suit. I don't know. I mean, I like it in the comics. In live action, he's a little bright, right?
I'll have to see him fully don it in probably She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I don't know how logical that is if you're running around at night to wear yellow and red.
This is true.
I think that's the
I
one
think
thing.
most of their costumes, though, or most of their costumes.
But Daredevil, like, just red is cool. Like the yellow, just I don't know. I do like it. I like it in the comic book setting. Live action, he could have, just not done that.
It's more like a mustard yellow.
Yeah.
It's a little darker.
Yeah, it's just, no. He's like spilt mustard all over his costume and just decided to go with it. Thought, hey, this is kind of a cool color.
Blended it in.
Or, this is a bad joke, but maybe because, he is blind.
Maybe he asked for red and he just didn't know.
Yeah, he just didn't know. You know what? As Adam rolls his eyes there a little bit, I wouldn't put it past Disney to make that joke, and we all know it's true. If we're talking about the cheesy Disney humor, that would be in it.
Maybe they're going to use it more so for his team ups. Like he does have his own. What are they? The Defenders. Oh, yeah. So maybe when he's with the Defenders in a group setting, he dons the more
Right. Yeah, you're trying to be a little more flamboyant. I mean, again,
when he's a little more incognito, he goes back to the full red.
Yeah, maybe no one wants to tell him. His color choices are pretty bad, but again, he is a blind guy, so.
Poor Matt Murdock.
per Matt Murdock is awesome. And that's what, I mean, honestly, Vincent D'Onofrio just taking the stage and announcing that he's coming back. Looks like he's wearing an eye patch. No spoilers for Hawkeye, but something did happen to him to wear an eye patch. So kind of cool. I always love an eye patch on a villain. Always makes the world go around there. Anyway, next series announced, Captain America New World Order. That'll be debuting sometime in 2024. Anthony Mackie playing Captain America. Not much else with that. Just happy to see that they're continuing. I'm a little surprised he didn't get his own movie. I don't know if you guys were kind of surprised by that. Something I kind of wanted. No, it's a show, fortunately. Oh, no. I am sorry. It is a new movie. It is a movie, not a show. So that's good. Okay, that's good. We'll take it back.
Yeah, great.
I thought it was a movie. That's
great. Yeah, New World Order is going to be a movie, so that's exciting. Good for Anthony Mackie. See, I got to take that back. See, I guess I got to read the articles ahead of time, too. Yeah, it's exciting to see. I'm glad he's getting his shot now. The biggest announcement, and I think this is where we'll have the biggest discussion right now, Thunderbolts was announced, which is, I guess if you want to make it the equivalent of the Marvel team or the Suicide Squad for Marvel, I guess maybe would be the best equivalent if you're looking for something.
Yeah, no,
right?
That's exactly what I was going to say too.
We got to see, we got to hear the cast announcement was really the big thing. Adam, who's joining the Thunderbolts?
I mean, who's not joining the Thunderbolts at this point? Let's see. We got. I don't remember all of their names. There was, what's the guy from the
Bad Captain
Winter
America.
Soldier? Yeah.
Bad Captain America.
Soldier, something like that, right?
Right.
Yeah, what do they call him?
I don't remember what his name is.
We call him Bad Captain America. So Bad Captain America.
Wyatt Russell is the actor.
So essentially this is the cast. So we have Black Widow, the new Black Widow. Yelena will be in it. The David Harbour.
Yes.
Will be returning. I'm sorry. I really don't remember her name. The bad girl from Ant-Man 2.
Ghost. Wasn't she Ghost?
Yeah, she was Ghost. Yep.
Ghost. Yeah, it's a cool character. Winter Soldier. Again, Bad Captain America. And last but not least, Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Oh, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But, I don't even know if I think she has a name. Is it Madam X? I don't know. I don't think it's Madam X. Madam something. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've read. Thunderbolts always have an alternating lineup, and this one seems to be at least in the vein of the spirit of what Thunderbolts are supposed to be. So what do you guys think? Adam, what do you think of the lineup? Are you excited? A lot of these characters, and I think you'll agree, are shortchanged, very much so in their respective movies. Taskmaster, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see their interactions with each other, because this is like one of those groups where I would not ever expect them all to be together. Right. But here we are, and I'm just very interested to see how this all comes about.
Right. I'm excited too. I think this is also a good redemption time, I should say, for like Taskmaster, maybe to build that character back up, because we really didn't get much of what a Taskmaster originally was. Ghost was a cool character, I thought, in Ant-Man, who had a lot of potential, so it's kind of cool to see. Everyone else pretty much had pretty decent development. I mean, those two specifically, though, I think could benefit from a series like this.
So I looked it up. Bad Captain America is called U.S. Agent.
Oh, U.S.
That's
Agent.
it.
He's now U.S. Agent. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus is Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Oh.
That's what they call.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
I just now, I'm remembering, every time she introduced, and it was always like a mouthful every time she said her name.
Right. And what do you think, Julie? Are you excited for this series?
I'm excited. I love Florence Pugh as Yelena. I thought her and David Harbour. I thought the two of them especially had a really good chemistry, really good banter back and forth. Sebastian Stan, can't go wrong. This is like a really cool group of characters. I'm really interested to see how they interact with each other. It's interesting it's called a group of supervillains. I don't really see Bucky at the Winter Soldier as being a supervillain anymore. But I guess maybe they'll redeem themselves.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go. Again, no other news was really announced. That was just kind of the lineup for the series. So Something to look forward to, I think, with Thunderbolts. Last Marvel announcement, and then we'll move on to one more. There's quite a few more things actually to talk about, but we're probably going to streamline it a little bit at this point because you guys are probably tired. The last announcement was the Marvels was announced. So this will be bringing all the Captain America, Miss Marvel type characters together. So Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Rebecca Rambeau will be together. So that's going to be that'll be a film. That will not be a show. So that'll be a film directed by the director of Candyman. If anyone's seen that, the new reboot for Candyman. So interesting. There wasn't really much announced by it. I think Captain Marvel is a very polarizing character within the Marvel universe. Hopefully this movie can redeem her in some points. I know Brie Larson just herself is very polarizing as an actress, just from some of the comments she made, and maybe this will be a chance to redeem her as well. Much like Thunderbolts to fix some characters, maybe they can fix, Captain Marvel, because I wasn't really a fan of her character, and even you could tell that Marvel kind of like softened up on her, especially in the Avengers movies towards the end, because she kind of didn't really play much of a role, minus like a part where she kind of just jumps in and fights real quick, and that's kind of it. So maybe this is a way to make her more interesting and give us some of the Carol Danvers stuff that we've grown to know and love as far as comic books. So since we covered most of the large Marvel and Ultimate Disney news, there's some stuff from their other studios, because remember, Disney controls the world, in case you forgot. 20th Century Studios came up, so that's primarily what was owned by Fox at one point, what they control. Adam, there's a new Avatar movie coming out. Not your Avatar, though. This is the blue people Avatar, as I like to refer to it.
There are the Avatar movies coming out.
Yeah, but
not
this is the better Avatar?
No.
Uh-oh.
Are you kidding?
I would never say that. You would never catch me.
I don't know. Are you trying to start a fight right now?
Maybe I am. Way of Water, they brought everyone on stage for Way of Water. I'm still not interested, guys. As much as they want to market this up, show a beautiful trailer, and it looks beautiful, don't get me wrong. It looks like amazing. I still don't care. I didn't care when the first time Avatar came out. I don't care when this Avatar comes out. I don't. I don't know about you. Got anyone else have any different opinions?
Pocahontas too.
Ouch. Is anyone else surprised how much money Disney threw at Avatar? I'm kind of surprised. I mean, they have a whole land dedicated to it, so maybe this is kind of their way of.
I mean, to be fair, that land in Disney is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I like that. That's the best thing that came out of that movie is Pandora and Disney.
Yeah, but it's a one-off, right? I don't think I needed a whole Avatar series.
No.
I don't.
Well, this has been in the works since before Disney even bought them, though.
Yeah, you have to wonder too, right? Was that an inherited thing by Disney? Did they kind of just? But that's probably not true, because I think they had a working relationship with James Cameron prior to that because of the park. Correct. Because that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah, they had the park before Disney acquired them, I believe.
Yeah, and let's be honest, James Cameron's not what he used to be. So that's putting it lightly. I don't know, Adam, if you saw the newest Terminator movie, where he gave a rave review saying it was the best Terminator that ever came out since the original. It was not.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't.
It was not.
No.
Someone needs to buy James Cameron some glasses instead of giving him money to make more movies. But
isn't this the first one? Isn't going to be 4 other Avatar movies or something?
Yeah, there's 4.
There's
4 more.
There's 4 more?
There's
4.
That.
It's weird because it's not a trilogy. It's 4 movies total or something like that.
Well, yeah, because I think there's going to be time jumps. I think it's going to then focus on their kids.
Thank God I get to know what happens to Jake Sully and his whole family for generations upon generations. Thank God. Anyway, that was the only big announcement from 20th Century Fox, ironically, which probably was the least interesting one that happened out of all of them. Disney Plus themselves also had some announcements. High School Musical is coming back. The series. I guess it is a series, right?
High School Musical, the musical.
Oh.
Series.
See? High School Musical, the musical, the series, but the original cast members are coming back to that, for those who are interested.
Because we're all in this together.
We're all in this together, everyone. Yeah. Good for Zac Efron, man. I'm glad. Good for him. For a guy who had a really troubled history, after High School Musical and stuff, he had a lot of shit go down. He really got real popular again. Good for him. He cleaned himself up pretty good. Yeah, Zac Efron. Good for him.
He actually just came out. Apparently, he has agoraphobia.
Yeah.
He said that in like a recent article.
Interesting. I would say good for him, but that doesn't seem like the right phrase to use. All right.
The more you know.
Next one. Percy Jackson and the Olympians finally getting looks like a pretty good adaptation.
Or thank the gods, I should say.
Yeah, that's coming out 2024. So the YA novel series finally getting the adaptation that it deserves, minus the movies that weren't that interesting. I love this. This was probably the best one. Was assorted Christmas specials. That was like literally like the tag for like just a bunch of Christmas specials that are announced for Disney Plus. Christmas is always a fun time of season. I'm always looking for content. So, hey, this could be something kind of cool. Pentatonics around the world for the holidays. It's kind of cool.
They do a good job with their Christmas songs. They're catchy.
Sure, why not? Then, Adam, hey, the Santa Claus is getting his own TV show. The Santa Clauses.
I'm actually really excited. I like those movies.
Bernard is back, baby.
I'm just surprised Tim Allen was allowed to come back to Disney after all the shenanigans being conservative and stuff. Apparently you can't be that with Disney, so I don't know, but I guess he worked it out. So great. I'm glad. I love Tim Allen. I think Tim Allen's America's dad. We've talked about it at Home Improvement, actually. Last Christmas, we talked about the Home Improvement Christmas episode.
Yes,
so,
we did.
Yeah, it's fun to see. That's something maybe we'll have to talk about in December when the series comes out. It actually comes out November 16th, so probably sooner than later we'll be talking about it. Fan favorite Bernard the Elf will be returning. Because he was weirdly missing from the sequels, right? Wasn't that what it was?
No, he was. I think he was in the second one, no, but not the third.
That's a good question.
I think so.
I think maybe he's definitely not in the third one.
Right, and there's 4 movies, right?
No.
Right. 3 and now the show.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to check the second one. Hold on. But I'm pretty sure he's in that one. I think. The Santa Claus too. Or he might not be. Yeah. Oh, no, he is. He is. Okay.
Well, I'm glad we settled the Santa Claus debate just so we can know who was in what. Look forward to that. Again, November 16th, the Santa Clauses will be coming. Seems like a fun idea for a Christmas show. We don't go many like holiday themed shows. So again, something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think the premise is he's like interviewing for a successor, right?
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. We'll see what they do. I can't wait to see how that kind of spins around.
Penn's going to be in it.
All right.
He hasn't done much lately, so.
Right. Next up was National Treasure: Edge of History. It was a really short trailer. Okay. It's not Nicolas Cage, so I really don't care. I don't really want to spend time talking about it.
I don't know where it lost me.
But Justin Bartha's going to be back, so.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones. Just who we needed. That's who needed Nick Cage. That's great. I'm so happy that exists now. Thank you. I'm trying to think what else came out. I mean, we could talk about Disney Junior releases because I'm sure our fan base really cares about that. I think that was really it. That was kind of the big things really from this show. So what I want to do is just before we wrap up, I know again it's already an overtly long video. What grade would you give this D23 based on the announcements? If you give it a letter grade, what do you think was great? What do you think wasn't so great? And what could be improved for next year? Let's start with Adam.
I think I will give it. I'll give it a B+.
Okay, B+ show from you. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a lot just announced. Maybe showing a little bit more of a teaser of some sort would have been nicer. But we did definitely get a lot of. It just seemed like a lot more of announcements. Just kind of like, hey, this is happening. Hey, this is happening. But it's definitely a whole lot of information.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. Maybe there's a better way to make it digestible. Would you say?
Yeah,
we need
I'd agree.
A little better. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right, Julie, what do you think? What would you give this letter grade? What do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with Adam, a B+. A lot of announcements. Yeah, would have liked to maybe seen more trailers. And then a lot of it was like stuff we already knew was coming, but no real new information. Like Avatar: Way of the Water, like so not like we got a new trailer. I would have kept this maybe just for like initial announcements and trailers for things that we already that we were anticipating.
Right. No,
I seeing one still image for a show or a movie. Okay.
Yeah, I think they need to move on from that. But that leads me to my letter grade. I would give this movie just a solid B. This whole conference, I would give a solid B. I think they could, like Julie said, they need to work on that. I think the still images aren't really enough. I mean, I understand some things are still in the concept phase, but
Right.
maybe don't announce it just yet. I know you want to have as much to show as possible. It does feel very bloated, like Adam kind of said, and I think it's not very easily digestible especially if you're following it like online. There's no way to easily like access these announcements. I know a lot of it's meant for the people who are live there and are seeing it, but obviously it leaks to the internet, and I think they need to make that a little more digestible for people at home, easier to find.
Well, I'm also thinking like if I was there and they just show me, oh hey guys, this is happening, like all right, sweet, show it to me, and then like, oh no, we don't have a trailer, we're just telling you it's happening.
Right. And
and it gave like their actors or whatever like just a chance to kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
But like,
all right, cool.
again,
Wow.
if you're there and you're not listening to it, okay, cool. I love Paul Rudd, but here's just him standing on a stage talking about the thing. Loki, nothing except for the cast just showing up on stage and be like, we're excited for season 2.
That's cool, but that's cool for people who are there.
If you're there.
They're exciting, and I understand that aspect to it.
Right.
E3 has the same kind of problems when they would do their shows. Where
Yes,
their
absolutely.
shows are like, you have really big announcements, and then you have some of the lackluster ones, which look even more lackluster next to the bigger announcements.
And they just keep seeming to have like different things. Because wasn't there like a Disney Day back in May or something where they like just announced a ton of stuff?
I believe so.
Like I know a lot of like
there
Plus,
was.
Yeah.
That's
right. So like I feel like those Pixar movies that we finally got an image for, they announced them back in May, because I just remember like scrolling through, oh, here's another movie. So now they're announcing that again, and now we just have an image. We don't have a trailer or anything. So if anything, they should have held that off in May and then just announced it for the first time now when they actually had like something to display for it.
Yeah, I think part of it's for shareholders too. I think they have to show like, what's going on.
That's actually a good
like,
point.
Build excitement for the next project that's coming out. That way, everyone who's invested in the company can see like, oh, we got this stuff coming out.
Well, see, the crazy thing is though that they're having, at least Marvel is having a panel at New York Comic Con again. Like Marvel's coming back. Like, what else are they going to be able to show?
And I'm sure that they had one back in San Diego.
They did, yeah.
They did.
So, and Disney themselves too.
Yeah, Disney has their own announcements too. They announce stuff. You wonder,
it's
right?
Double, triple dipping, like.
Yeah, but I think, and it's interesting because then when you go to these other shows like New York Comic Con, for example, they're kind of lackluster. Right, like the announcement, like,
right,
because
the rug's been pulled out from under them.
Yeah, because Disney's like, oh, we have our own show. We're going to show everything there and save it for that show. But I don't know. I'm sure there's backdoor dealings where they have to have like one announcement of some kind.
Right.
Like, I don't know, but I'm excited. Disney gave us some stuff to look forward to. A lot of stuff from our past, some new things. Unfortunately, I think a little bit too much from the past. As I always say, I mean, I know it's easy to retell a Disney live action movie, but just a little bit more news stories. I think even all the series in general, I think Star Wars is like treading. I want some new material, right? I know the past is cool, and I do like characters like Ahsoka and Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku, and I'm excited, but I want to see what the future holds, And I didn't get a lot of that from this conference, unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, Pixar maybe was the only one that actually had some new stuff. I mean, they had a couple big sequels, but they actually had some new stories to tell, and that's what I'm looking forward to, the new stories. I've seen the old stuff. I want to see something new. But, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of The Real Guys Live. We had a lot to talk about. Thanks for hanging in there. It's a super long, jam-packed episode. I'll be sure to put in some breaks in there, so if you guys made it this far, I'm sure you've seen them at this point. That way you can skip around. But thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next time. Kevin signing out. Julie, Adam, Real Guys Live.
Bye.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
If you guys like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search The Real Movie Guys, you should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.